So the second NASCAR San Antonio doubleheader of the season, and first of what we're about to get three in a row. So let's talk about the first one that happened this past Sunday. So the Food City 500 at Bristol. First of all, shout out to my man in that 35 car, Riley Herbst, for an incredible qualifying run. Ran top 10 for over most of the day before, fading like a rock towards the end. I mean, Gregson, I don't know, Herbst faded like a rock in the second half. Well, Gregson was knocking on the door of the top 10 most of the day until he sank like a rock. After I had to go to the bathroom, I came out, he was in the 20s, 2 laps down. But this guy right here was the man of the hour. We will talk more about him later in this section of the race review because, man, I've never seen much of a wholesome first career win, first time winner from a driver I don't root for, because I was like on the mend with this guy. I wasn't really crazy about him because the 2022 antics in the Busch Grand National Series, but over the years he grew on me because he eventually did calm down. So therefore he has been okay with me for the longest time. So we'll talk about him later. So therefore, I mean, I don't know where he started, though. He was started the day in the top 15. And stage one, I know there was very minimal action, but we did get to see something interesting in the slightest, which was this spin by Brad Keselowski. So therefore, it was the first sign that this Food City 500 was definitely going to be miles better than the dud last year. So my man Herbst I was lucky to get one stage point by finishing in the top 10 in that first stage. Wow. After that, come the second half of the race, beginning of the second half, he completely sank like a rock. Hell, his best friend, one of his best friends a lot besides, Zane Smith, who's, Gregson's teammate at front row, was basically knocking on the door of the top 10 most of the day till he faded towards the end. And Christopher Bell here took a spin like Jeffrey Bodine, and it was weird how where the spin was caused because basically he hit the wall. Sure, it may seem like a brush or let alone even a best a kiss, but it was enough to bend the toe link to the point where that's what caused the spin. Here, Alex Bowman had a tough first race back. It's not how he wanted to, spend his first race back from recovering from that vertigo that he suffered at Coda. I know my boy Nemechek was in the wreck, but basically, I really didn't care on this day. I normally would be upset about, any of my drivers not doing well or getting caught up in someone's bullshit or having problems of their own doing, let alone DNFing, but not this time, because later in the video, what you're going to see in the second half of this recap video was my number one priority. But here, I wasn't very impressed. While Larson and Blaney dominated most of the first two stages, look at me and my father's driver, Dylan in the 3, Suarez in the 7. Me and my dad were teaming up against Kyle Larson to try to stay on the lead lap. If you're from the fans' point of view of the said drivers, Austin, I know, was in good shape in that 3. There was no way, Larson was getting to him to put him a lap down before that stage 2 came to an end since it was winding down. But I was more rooting for my dad's driver to hang on to that lead lap, so he didn't have to worry about getting the lucky dog, because I knew I was pretty safe with my driver, but my dad with his driver, which I don't even think he watches much NASCAR anymore these days compared to based on the life he has now, compared to back when we watched it together for so many years on Lenore and a little bit of Sandhurst. But basically my dad's driver here was in a mess trying to stay in that lead lap and not have to rely on the lucky dog when the stage caution came out, just get back on the lead lap right away. Because, for some drivers, that could be a waste of time. You go a lap down, right as the stage ends, but then you get only to get back on the lead lap for that said stage caution. I guess that's the one downside of having stage cautions, but it's at the upside at the same time. But right here, my dad's driver barely hung on and stayed on the lead lap, so good shit, Suarez. Now, this is where it starts getting good. This is where it basically set the tone for the rest of the race. My boy Riley accidentally spun Kyle Busch, and I can understand, Kyle Busch being frustrated. His friends like Dalton Good, a.k.a. Dalton Rowdy Busch, number of Kyle Busch fan, being frustrated because we are witnessing its downfall before our eyes, much like Richard Petty in 1992, Darrell Waltrip in 99, 2000, and Jimmy Johnson in 2018 and 2020. But here's the man of the hour once again, Ty Gibbs, starting to make his move towards the front while Blaney and Larson continue to put on the clinic. It was little did they know that young man in that 54 car was hungry for a win and was like hot on their heels. So therefore, these two continue duking it out for most of that last stage to conclude the race. I mean, obviously, I thought it was them that were going to win. Obviously, I didn't think Ty Gibbs had a chance because, at first, before it started getting a few cautions towards the end, which you'll see in a couple minutes. But, if Blaney or Larson was going to hang on to that race win, if one of them was going to win, they should have stayed out like Ty Gibbs. I mean, sometimes, staying out under a caution period will do you good. Sometimes pitting will do you good. And sometimes it could be the other way around for either or. In this case, staying out benefited Ty Gibbs more than, coming in, helped, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson, on this next caution period, I think you're about to see. No, not right here. Because here's Ty Gibbs, get hot on Kyle Larson's heels for second place. I mean, it's good for Blaney for now, but since they were running side by side, but it didn't take long for Gibbs to, pass Larson, clear him, and start eating into Blaney's lead. So, therefore, I know Carson Hocevar had a good run going. I know a lot of people don't like him, and not like the same way they didn't like Ty Gibbs in 2022. But to me, I was never a Carson Hocevar hater. He's basically the closest thing for me is what Ty Gibbs was to me in 2022. But Hocevar, he's never bothered me in any capacity, much like Kyle Busch when he was one of the most hated drivers in NASCAR. But here's the part where basically decided the outcome of the race. But even though it took a little bit of time to eventually show, Chase Elliott took a spin like Jeffrey Bodine, did a Bobby Labonte 360, didn't hit anything. So the Blaney and Larson came to pit while Gibbs stayed out, and basically it was a wonderful pit call by Gibbs' crew chief because he was able to get out to a good lead, hold off the field successfully, like he's been driving basically for maybe 10 years, like a seasoned vet. I mean, Reddick gave him a run for his money. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did. Larson tried to charge back and get that lead back, and Blaney's pit crew, oh my lord, I don't really know the backstory like much about this, but I've heard people talk about it in their NASCAR race recaps. But Blaney's pit crew needs to get, a stern talking to from Roger Penske or whoever the pit crew coach was, because basically they barely fumbled the bag and are lucky Blaney is still able to somewhat recover, but somehow, even if he doesn't get the win. But yeah, Gibbs had this on lock. I mean, Blaney was going to catch him, but there was no way he was going to pass him. So therefore, I'm a Riley Herbst fan, obviously, and I was about to feel bad if this caution had lost Gibbs, the other Monster Energy car at the race, and I get Kyle Busch was frustrated. I mean, as a Herbst fan, that was 100% deserved, considering, I mean, there was really no need for us to, turn to Kyle Busch like that, even if it was inadvertent, like a typical Robbins Racing deal. But just for that left hook, I hope he doesn't get suspended. And if he does, I won't be surprised. But the overtime race start, it was cool to see the Fox ticker show the teams, like a actually assigned driver. Guys, even in NASCAR and Fox's heyday, NASCAR's heyday, during the Winston Cup Gen 4 days, and even next they'll spread Monster Energy, they didn't do that version of the graphic. But the white flag right here, Blaney had every shot in the book to steal the win from Ty Gibbs. I mean, he got alongside him, but could never clear him. Gibbs had the better run. And basically, he basically beat out Blaney by mere inches to get his first career Winston Cup win. The way he prioritized that strategy call to win is exactly what worked for Elliott Sadler in the 2001 version of this race, and for the Wood brothers in the 21 Motorcraft Ford Taurus, which was Elliott Sadler's also first career win. And this is the first time winner at Bristol, let alone the Food City 500 alone, since Kurt Busch in 2002, the year after Elliott Sadler, the year we lived in Mexico. So let's go to the second half of the night. We'll go down in San Antonio, Texas.
Later that night.
So yeah, I know this was a regular season game, the finale, that really we weren't playing for anything. We had nothing to gain or nothing to lose, but it's still a game that could potentially decide our playoff chances and fate. I mean, we were not off to a too bad of a start on any means, but My lord, this is one of the most embarrassing games, let alone losses of the season for a meaningless game. I mean, holy shit.
Long run. Carter Bryant inside, shoulder and dunked on the three-time MVP.
Damn! And then SWIPA with the impossible shot, which kind of sparked a little bit of our momentum, I guess. But, oh my goodness, we were trying to come back. I mean, at least we showed some fight.
Not a scoring pass. Roddy, another quick move, but he missed it at the rim. Throw it up. Carter Bryant flying high. Making us look extra great. Carter Bryant making the Spurs look great on defense.
Right you are.
And that was all she wrote, I'm afraid, unfortunately. It was indeed a season to remember. Remember how I thought we were going to have a 7th miserable season in a row? And the 5-0 start gave me an indicator that when they started 3-0 2 games earlier, that 3-0 start was not even a fluke like it was in 2019, 2020, pre-pandemic, you know, basically the first rebuilding year. But, you know, the 5-0 start gave me a hint that something good was brewing, and it damn right it was. I mean, this is going to be the first time I'm going to be happy since the 2016-2017 season. The last year Duncan was gone the first year Duncan was gone due to his retirement. Like, the ghost of Tim Duncan was, keeping us, dominating at the top until the injury bug in Zaza happened. And then, as they all say, the rest is history. Wembanyama got 3 block titles in a row in his first 3 seasons. The second time it's been done in NBA history. Like, not even the blood clock can stop him from getting the block title last year in his second full season. Unbelievable. Our first round matchup is all set like Jimmy Johnson. It'll be me versus the #1 Portland Trailblazer fan, Boyce Jr., along with my 2 show peeps, David Gentoli, aka Eddie Seville on ABC's A Million Little Things, and his wife that he met on the previous show that he did with her before MLT, Bitsy Tulloch, who are basically Bitsy's more the Portland Trailblazers fan than David. So David just basically goes along with it just to support her. Just, how like any girl I've dated, basically only likes the Spurs and NASCAR, not because they're huge fans of it, but because they're supporting me. Here's the schedule right here for potentially what could go to 7 games. Well, we don't know for sure. I mean, so it's the NBA. You're not supposed to know. Sports are unpredictable. Anything can happen. The 2 games I'm actually looking forward to all 4 guaranteed games that are set to play. So here's why. This Sunday will be the 2nd NASCAR San Antonio doubleheader in a row, and the 3rd or an overall this year. The second one will be on Rob Ragel's birthday. So as a lifelong fan of his since I was in high school, and he was the vice principal on the show in The Breakfast Bunch, which was a recreation of the classic iconic movie from the 80s, The Breakfast Club. I'm looking forward to hopefully giving my #1 actor and comedian outside of the late great David A. Arnold a birthday present from one of his longtime biggest fans from the Cleveland area who supports the 210. And the one on Friday, the day before Tim Duncan's birthday, the same day I have a basketball game with my work. We get to stay up all night for that one. It's a West Coast game, and normally I fucking hate West Coast games, but since it's on a non-work night, it's no big deal. We can stay up for the whole damn thing. And then 2 days later, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, we get another NASCAR San Antonio doubleheader, but this will be the first one. I mean, the 4th one overall and the 3rd one in a row, but this will be the first real one where it'll be NASCAR and San Antonio going on at the same time, where I get to flip-flop back and forth. As Game 4 will be taking place at the same time on the same day as the Aaron's 499 at Talladega, I would talk more about what to expect in this first round, learn on the playoffs as a whole, depending on how far we may or may not get. But we're gonna talk all about that. Have a lot to talk about in the next episode of Spurs Roundup, which is long overdue. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night, and I will see you all for the next video, whenever that may be. And as always, go Spurs go. The race for CS is back underway. Oh, mama, Wembanyama, SWIPA the Fox.
Go Spurs, go!
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.